Hello friends, my name is Sonia. This is Sonia with an I, and welcome to my vintage cookbook tour. I wanted to share my vintage cookbook collection with you because I've had a lot of people ask me about my vintage books and my cookbooks because many people do know that I cook and I really enjoy cooking. But I also wanted to share because over a year ago I was sick for about 2 weeks, and I discovered a channel called Cooking the Books. And Anna, the host of that channel, collects vintage cookbooks and then cooks recipes and makes menus out of those books. And it was my comfort. It was my comfort show. It was what I watched to be comfort at a time that was very scary, uncomfortable, and all of those things. So I thought today that I would like to show my vintage cookbooks because for many people, they bring nostalgia. My cookbooks remind me of people who have passed, people that I've cared about, that I care about, and they just bring me a lot of joy. So I hope that this sharing of cookbooks also brings you joy. I do have a few more modern cookbooks in here, but I'll show them just because they're part of my cookbook collection. Y'all, I didn't realize how many cookbooks I had until I started pulling them out to do this video. So you might want to grab a snack, come back, that sort of situation. I'll try to make it brief, okay? I'm not going to go through each and every book and talk and show, show the insides and stuff. I'll probably only do that with a few of my favorites. But I do hope you enjoy this sharing of my vintage cookbooks. So here we go. Now I can see. The first of my vintage cookbook sharing, and I'm going to be doing a lot of bending, so I apologize for that, is these two books here, the Better Homes and Gardens New Cookbook and the Better Homes and Gardens Junior Cookbook. This one is from the 1950s, and I think that this one is from the 1960s, but these were in everybody's house when I was growing up. Everybody's mama, grandmama had these books. They're fantastic because they're tabbed. So they're tabbed by section. The teacher in me loves this. And I mean, the graphics are just adorable. And the pictures are beautiful. I've made some bread recipes out of this. I've made some meat recipes. Like I made a fried chicken out of here that was really good. There's so many. It's just a little bit of everything for every cook. And it's just like kind of the cooking Bible, I guess, a lot of that people use for everyday cooking. And this one, I feel, has some great recipes too, even though it's for younger people. Some of the best recipes come out of kids' cookbooks. I love kids' cookbooks, by the way. It's tabbed the same way. It has really bright, vivid pictures. It's just darling. I love these books. Those are kind of my treasures. Sorry, I should have had these organized a little better so I don't have to bend. But Betty Crocker's Picture Cookbook, another the cookbook Bibles, I believe. This is a reprint. This is not the original one from the 50s, but it's tabbed. It has all the pictures. Cookbooks back in the day, when you would get married, people would give you a cookbook, to start your cookbook collection. So you would be able to plan your meals for your family and do that sort of thing. So they're gifts. Cookbooks are gifts. Watkins cookbook. This was my dear sweet granny's cookbook. I remember thumbing through this when I was a kid, and it's not anything special. It is a, sponsored sort of cookbook from Watkins. They had medication and tonics and things like that. I believe this is from the 1930s, and I mean it's been through it. She's been through it, but it's just very special. My sweet granny's hands touch this. Her fingerprints are on it, and there's also notes and stuff. So this one is a treasure to me. I also have A World of Great Eating. This is recipes from around the world. I love the illustrations. It's like every country, not every country, but lots of countries represented. And then the recipes are written. They look like they're handwritten. This is from the 50s. It is just darling. And it was somebody's wedding gift, which I love that. I love when cookbooks are written in, when they've had a life before me. So I keep getting distracted. The witch is here. I don't want you to get confused. This is the witch. Anyway, yeah. The next one, Treasures from the Heart, the Blue Owl Restaurant and Bakery, historic Kimmswick, Missouri. Kimmswick is a beautiful little town, and the Blue Owl Restaurant is very well known in this area and in many areas for their mile-high pies. I just thought this was lovely. It has their chili recipe in it too, which when I went to eat there, their chili was delicious. So their white chicken chili. The American Girl Cookbook. This is so cute. This is from the American Girl magazine. It's so sweet. It even has a charm bracelet. Oh my gosh, it's just darling. It's from the American Girl Library. And this was a gift to Julie from Virginia and Ray, December 25th, 1967. So this was a Christmas book, our Christmas gift. I love this. It was originally, this was printed in 1966. I love the girl's outfit on the front. There are some dated ideas in it, but it is really a cute cookbook, and it really has, I've cooked a couple of recipes from this, and they're easy to do, tasty, on-point recipes. I mean, why wouldn't I like this? And it's so cute on the front. I have Meals and Minutes, Better Homes and, I want to say Betty Homes, no, Better Homes and Gardens Cookbook. I have several of these little hardback. They have really nice pictures, and some of the recipes are good. Vintage children's book. This is Young Children's Mix and Fix Cookbook, and it's by Parents Magazine. This has the cutest, absolute most darling little pictures in it. Some of the recipes are cute, and spooky puddings. I might give a try to some spooky pudding. It's spooky time. So yes, I haven't cooked anything out of that. I just actually found this at a thrift store. Most of these, if I did not own them because they were given to me by a family member, I thrifted most of these. A Campbell's Soup, Cooking with Soup book. I've actually made some recipes out of this. I really like it. I tend to make my own cream soups just because I like being in control of what goes into the soups, like as far as, you know, spice and salt and stuff like that. But every once in a while, honey, I'll grab a can of cream and mushroom soup. I'm not mad about it, and throw it together with some other stuff and make something delicious. This is everything to me. I love cookbooks with this metal binding like that. That draws my eyes. If I see one of those, right to it. So Good Meals, another Better Homes and Gardens. I love the pictures in those. This is my very favorite cookbook series, and it's vintage, 2000, considered vintage. I don't think that's vintage. As I've said before, I think that's retro, but nobody asked me. I'm not mad about it. I'm not bitter. Anyway, this is Just a Matter of Fact. It is Roxy Kelly and Friends. I have several of these. You will see them as I go through them. I love these books. This book actually inspired me to do a cookbook for my family, like pick the favorite recipe of theirs, and I have several people in my family, and then illustrate. I'm still working on it, and maybe someday I'll finish it, but look at the inside of this. And it's not one of those cookbooks that's just pretty. Like, the food tastes good. The food is actually good. I have Quick Thrifty Cooking. This is from Reader's Digest. It's from the 80s. I have a couple of recipes in it that I've really enjoyed. Once again, love it. This is Betty Crocker's Good and Easy Cookbook. I actually took one of their menus for 3 days and cooked the menus just as they've explained it. It worked very well. It was very organized. I love the pictures in here, and I love this size. It's, y'all, it's old, it's fallen apart, but I love this size. I love how it's great. And this one is to Anne Marie from Grace and Eddie in 1960. So this was a gift as well. I need to get this either rebound or fix this or something, but the artwork is just incredible. I have this Favorite Recipes of America's, and it's salads. And usually when I think of salads, lettuce, tomato, you know, the whole bit, salad. But they have all kinds of recipes in here that look so delicious. And there's a lot of First Ladies recipes in here. So it was like, okay, yeah. I just recently got this one not too long ago. And there's a couple of things in there I plan to make. I have a lot of these little recipe books like this, but I have a basket full of them, and I didn't pull all those out because this would be 5 hours long, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a 5-hour video. But this one is one of my favorites because I love the font. I love the front of the picture. I love that it wraps around and it creates a whole scene. And then the little illustrations in it. It's just darling. I'm a sucker for a vintage illustration. This book was in every house I had as a kid, and everyone should have, especially at Christmas time, Betty Crocker's cookie book. I make cookies for my nephews and my niece every year. I make a box. I make a goodie box for them. They request it. You're going to do that again, aren't you? They love it. They request it. And a lot of the cookies that I make are from the cookie book. I've made lots of favorites and one that was not so favorite. But, you know, it happens. Better Homes and Gardens, Cooking for Two. I like Cooking for Two books. So much that I have 2 of the Betty Crocker ones. I actually had 3, and I sent one to my friend Jackie Lentz. Jackie Just Chatters. Jackie is also a two-people family, and I'm a two-people family, and we went through the cookbook together, and we have talked about like making the menu and then comparing how we felt about it. But I love Cooking for Two books. You know, it has that metal that I love. I love Cooking for Two because there's just 2 of us, and so many recipes are like feeds 15 people, and I'm like, oh, you know, we only have so much freezer room in our house. So yeah, I got distracted by the mess in my hair. Sorry. Who wants to count calories anyway? Well, I don't, but I need to. And I love how this is type print, and this is from a organization. You know, it's one of those like community cookbooks. What's really funny is it's from Petoskey, Michigan, and I went to Petoskey, Michigan, and found this 2 months later in Missouri. The next book I have is Women's Day Encyclopedia of Cookery. This is volume 1. It's really cool how this is organized. It's organized by states, and it has like 10 recipes per each state. I found that really interesting. I've not cooked out of that one yet. I just recently got that at a library sale. This is just a local cookbook, the Leclerc Gas Cookie Candy Cake Cookbook. And the reason that I bought this, there was 2, is that somebody has a bunch of notes in here, like different recipes that they have of their own, and I'm nosy. So I bought it. I bought it at a thrift store, I think for $1. Here's another one of those Roxy Kelly cookbooks, and you can tell a lot of my Roxy Kellys, I have notes in them. It's called Heart and Soul. As I said, this is 2000. I think these were published like 95, 2000, like when I first started teaching. But the artwork in these, and I'm telling you, the food is good. It's very good. Easy to make. It's not usually difficult. Recipes are not hard to read. Good food. One of my favorite cookbooks. Cooking with Cheese. I know somebody who would love this. I actually picked this up for a friend, and I'd forgotten that I had it until I pulled it out today, so that's going somewhere. To put that out for some Happy Meal. We have meals with no meats. I really can read. I do have a book. Meats. Yes, Phyllis Diller's Laugh just came out. I love the pictures of this. And my Dan is a meat eater. He low carbs, and I'm always looking for like unique meat recipes. So I gave that a shot. Here is another Cooking for Two that I'm sending to a friend of mine that I sent the other one to. Another Roxy Kelly. Like I said, I think that I have all of these. I might be missing one, but I think I have them all. But you know, the illustrations. It's just, it's cottage core, and you know, I'm cottage to my core, and B, it's just so good. The recipes are so tasty. Good Housekeeping Cookie Jar Cookbook. Another cookie. I'm a sucker for cookie recipes, so that comes out at Christmas time. Julia Child, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Horrible. I don't get paid to do. You don't have to worry. I don't get paid to do any sort of voice work or anything, just so you know. Don't worry. But this is by Simone Beck and Julia Child. And as much as I love me some Julia Child. I have loved Julia Child since I was a child. I used to watch Julia Child on PBS with my granny along with Bob Ross. And I'd watch her recipes, and she'd be cooking, and I would love it. I loved listening to her voice. I loved her recipes, but her cookbook is not easy to follow. So I got this at a thrift store for like $1.25, and I bought it, and I was looking through. I was like, oh, I'll make all these things, and as I said, it's not easy to follow. I've had this book since I was in maybe middle school. Middle school. I bought it at a library sale. It's the Pooh Cookbook. It is darling, and I've made several of these things in here. The honey toffee apples, I remember making when I was in high school. They were delicious. I need to make them again. The honey custard I've made. When I was little, before my parents got divorced, my father was very restrictive of diet and different things that we could eat, and we didn't eat any sort of like processed sugar or like sugar, any sort of thing like that, but we could eat honey. So a lot of our sweets and sweet treats and stuff came from honey, and there's a lot of honey recipes in here. So I've always kind of been drawn to honey because of that. This book my sweet friend Tiffany gave to me. It is the Anne of Green Gables cookbook. We did a Secret Santa, and she had my name, and I love this. And it does have the recipe for cherry cordial, which makes me giggle, and the liniment cake, but not made with liniment. So this is not a vintage book, just one I have. It's the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook, which I've made butterbeer from there, and it's real tasty. This is a vintage book. It's Cutco Cookbook. This was World's Finest Cutlery. This came with your knife set if you ordered a knife set back in the day, and beautiful pictures and adorable little clip art, and some interesting recipes. There's a beef recipe in here I have marked. It's like a sweet and sour beef sort of situation. Rival Crockpot and Cookery. The Rival Crockpot is Rival Crockpot Company was originally out of Sedalia, Missouri, which is not super far from me. And so I picked this up because A, it has that, and I'm a sucker for that. And B, I thought it would be interesting to have and see. And y'all, I love a crockpot cookery. Love some crockpot cookery. Throw it all in the crockpot, come home, it's done. Hallelujah, let's eat. All right. This is just, it's a local cookbook, you know, like fundraiser thing. This is another one of the Roxy Kellys. This is the hardback one. I think I use this one the most because it has one of my favorite recipes in it. Now, I'm much like my granny. I cook from the spirit, but with sweets, there's a lot of things like if I'm baking, I kind of follow the recipe. I like that these books have a lot of St. Louis and Missouri references too. Gooey butter cake is delicious. It is a St. Louis treat. Very tasty, excellent. Like I said, I love those books. Yeah, my granny didn't have many cookbooks because she didn't cook from a cookbook. She cooked from the spirit. Like everything that she made was up here, which makes it hard to make her recipes now because I don't have that up here. But she did like, I don't know if you all remember this. If you're a young person, you may not be aware. But back in the day, they used to have free TV guides. They look like newsprint paper, but they were kind of triangular, or not triangular, rectangular shaped. They weren't like the TV guide that you had to buy that was all in color like a magazine. We would go to the grocery store, she'd pick it up, and as soon as those groceries were unpacked, she was in her chair, flip into the recipe section of that, and she would take the recipe, they had a recipe of the week, and then she would finagle it to make what she would want. And she's much like me. Oh, I think if I add this, it'll be, I get it, honestly, I get it from her. The Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook, my friend Jana gave this to me. This is just a different edition of the gingham one. It's the same book, but this is like the certain, like a special edition. It has the same stuff on the inside, but it was a gift. It was very nice, and it's very pretty. Treasury of Christmas recipes from, this was an advertisement from all of those brands, and I looked at this because this is from the 80s, which is vintage, and a lot of my recipes from my childhood that I remember people making a lot, and now people don't make it anymore, like grasshopper pie. I have not had grasshopper pie since I was little bitty, and people making, you know, there's all kinds of recipes, and I can't think of any right now because I'm in front of a camera. You know how that is. But I look through this and it just makes me kind of nostalgic. Like, I remember when that was like a big thing. Like, my mother discovered enchiladas, and we had enchiladas like once a week when I was really young. And I think it was just because she saw it somewhere, and then it just kind of faded out, and I haven't had enchiladas since I was probably a kid, you know. But this is a nostalgic cookbook for me, and I do enjoy it. Trying to make sure I hit all my cookbooks here. They're all circled around me. I'm surrounded by cookbooks. These are not vintage, but they're a couple of cookbooks that I do really enjoy. It's Fika and Huga, the Scandinavian and the Nordic kitchen. Boy, they do love their licorice. I am not a fan, but they love it. So, and this is my favorite Bake Off contestant. Her name is Kim Joy. I love her. I think she is such a sweet spirit. She has such a big heart, and I enjoy watching her or seeing her bakes. I don't know how good, because they're very involved. Like, she makes all these like animal shaped things, like that pavlova there. I don't know. And I really try not to make a lot of dessert because I try not to eat a lot of dessert. So, y'all, I think I showed you all of my cookbooks. I did. Wow. So yeah. Ta-da! Those were all of my cookbooks. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me. It was a little a trip down memory lane, as we say. Just want to say thank you. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for supporting me with those likes and subscribes and kind words and comments. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you liked this video, of course, you know the drill. Like, subscribe. Do you have any of these cookbooks? Did your parents have any of these cookbooks? Do you cook out of these books? Let's talk about cookbooks. Do you like to cook? Let's talk about it in the comments. If no one has told you today, of course, you make this world a better place just by being in it. I thank you. I appreciate you. And until next time, goodbye. Happy reading. And this is their home when they're not being shown off for the internet.